3, 2, 1. That was terrible. Hey friends, Janky here, and welcome to another episode of Hanging with Janky. I am going to level with you. I have already recorded all of Hanging with Janky, but you know what happened in the middle of the recording? A thunderstorm, and it is gone now. But it darkened the window, and it made the lighting look like crap. Because as I've said before, I use my window as one of my lighting sources, which looks great when it's nice outside, and terrible when it's not. So I'm just re-recording the whole thing. Anyway, we are changing up the format just a touch today. Instead of doing channel talk and subs and then gaming news, I'm going to start with the gaming news, cut the channel talk, and end with thanking you beautiful, wonderful, marvelous people. Sound good? Well, that's what we're doing. Let's get started. Okay, so starting off gaming news, as we always do with a quickfire news. What is on the quickfire news docket today? Well, let's start by talking about Sonic and his comic book series. Those who are fans of the comic book series were probably very saddened earlier this year to hear that Sega was splitting up with longtime publisher Archie Comics. They have been working together on the series since its inception in 1993, but they recently split. Luckily, Sega announced at San Diego Comic-Con that they were moving on with the series with a new publisher, IDW Publishing, so if you're fans of the Sonic comic books, never fear, they will be continuing under a new publisher. Moving on with more beloved 90s characters, Crash Bandicoot Remaster, let's talk about it. People have been complaining about how hard it is. Well, the developers finally released a statement telling gamers to get good. They were not going to lower the difficulty in any future updates. Get better or stop playing. That's not exactly how they put it, but no matter how you say that, that's not something you want to hear from a developer. But yeah, get good, son. If you're terrible at it, just, get good. Moving on, we have the Overwatch League logo dispute. So this is actually hilarious to me because this is something that I brought up when they released the Overwatch logo back at BlizzCon last year. I looked at it and I said, that looks a lot like Major League Baseball's logo. Like, spot on. And it turns out that the MLB has finally noticed that as well. There is a rumor going around that the MLB may be taking some legal action against Blizzard for basically stealing their logo and using it for Overwatch League. We'll see if anything becomes of that, but I thought it was really hilarious because I don't know if I have a clip. I'm sure there's a clip somewhere of me saying something about it, but it's spot on, guys, and yeah, we'll see what becomes of that. Continuing to speak about Blizzard, Blizzard will be discontinuing its support for users of Windows XP and Vista. If you use XP or Vista, first of all, kudos to you for taking the Ron Swanson route and just sticking with something, even though it's 3 generations old. But if you're still using one of those operating systems, Blizzard will be discontinuing service. So if you're a Blizzard gamer, maybe considering upgrading to a newer operating system. Anyway, wasn't XP and Vista like the ones that no one liked? Like, I'm pretty sure Vista was, right? I'm sure XP was. Maybe Vista was okay. Whatever. The point is, upgrade your computer. Just do it. Just do it. Speaking of online services, let's talk about Nintendo Switch Online app and the many user complaints that have been coming with it. So, Nintendo released their online app that you are supposed to be able to use in conjunction with the Switch to chat with people while you're playing games online. It has been met with a multitude of user complaints, namely 2 big things. First of all, you can't use the voice chat unless you are in a game. So you actually have to be in a game, in a lobby, waiting before it lets you use the voice chat. The other problem, which is the big problem, is that you have to have the app open, your phone unlocked, screen on. If none of those requirements are met, or if any one of those requirements are not met, you cannot use the voice chat feature. So you can't be using other things, you can't be twittering, you can't be texting, you can't be doing anything. Your phone has to be on the entire time, and it has to be on the app. Lots of people are complaining about that. So Nintendo, we love you. You're like the eccentric uncle of our family tree, but maybe you should consider changing away how that app works so that people aren't hating it. Sound good? Sound good. Talking more about Nintendo, let's move on to their property, Pokemon, and the hit app game Pokemon Go. A judge issued injunction against Milwaukee's Pokemon Go ordinance. So this is actually kind of a funny story, an interesting story at least. But Milwaukee issued a new ordinance against games that feature augmented reality. Milwaukee, like many cities whenever Pokemon Go first released, had a lot of issues with people trespassing, littering in parks, huge lines at restrooms, just like insane overcrowding in their park system. And so they issued an ordinance that was like, look, if you're an augmented reality game, you need to get permission from us, the city, in order to operate here in our city. Now, this was met with opposition from another augmented reality company. It's like, look, we are not as big as Niantic and Pokemon, and we don't feel that we need to ask permission in order to play our game in your city. A judge ruled with the company. They said, look, that is a very broad definition for augmented reality games. Not many of them are as big as Pokemon Go, so you need to figure this out. But the case is still ongoing. There's actually some talk about perhaps it going quite far, maybe up to the Supreme Court, and we'll get some interesting ruling about gaming in public. I don't know if that'll actually happen, but it might be something to look out for in the future. Continuing to talk about gaming trends in the public eye, let's talk about Shanghai and their gaming stations that they've put into their malls. Places where husbands can sit down while their wives shop and play old arcade games like Tekken. Yes, that is actually how it was marketed. Husbands can sit while wives shop. Apparently now the problem is that wives get done with their shopping, their husbands are still playing video games. This all sounds incredibly sexist coming out as I'm saying it, but this is literally how it's being marketed. Anyway, it does sound like fun. I'm not gonna dispute that. Like a gaming pod in the middle of the mall. If it weren't for the fact that the mall is a dying thing in America, that would be amazing. I would absolutely love that. I would be into it. Anyway, let's finish out quickfire news by talking about Destiny 2 beta. So, Destiny 2 beta released this week, and it's kind of been met with a mixed response. You know, there are things that people like, things that people don't. I mean, that's sort of typical for a beta. The one thing I will say is that people have been getting a lot of error codes, although Bungie says that most of those error codes are already fixed, because the beta is in fact a month's old build of the game, which brings into question, why would you release a month's old build of the game as the beta? Why wouldn't you release something a little newer? But whatever, apparently everything is actually fine. But the funniest thing to come out of this beta is a statement by Bungie, who says that people will hopefully be complaining that there's too much story. Because of course one of the biggest problems with Destiny, as said by the players, is that there is basically no story to that game whatsoever. And so they're just like, we put in so much story, there might be too much. And so that's hilarious to me. But that pretty much wraps it up for quickfire news for this week. So next up on the docket, let's talk about Kingdom Hearts 3, because apparently I need to, so I don't get berated again by that one friend, you know who you are, who yelled at me for not covering it last week, even though I recorded Hanging with Janky before D23 Level Up, or wherever they released the new trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, so I apologize for not covering it, but it didn't happen yet, so that's a little unfair, I think, but whatever, fine, we'll cover it now, let's go, let's do it. So Kingdom Hearts 3, well, okay, so D23 happened, which is the Disney Expo that they have every year, and they released a new trailer, which is super cool and awesome, and it shows off the new Toy Story world. Looks amazing. Great. Awesome. Beautiful. That's pretty much what I have to say, but let's get into a couple other things so I don't get yelled at for not doing a dissertation on Kingdom Hearts 3. So like I said, new Toy Story world looks absolutely awesome. It actually lives up to a promise that PlayStation made back in the day, which is actually really interesting and I find entertaining. They said that Kingdom Hearts 3 would look as good as the Toy Story movie, because the Toy Story movie was beautiful for its time. Like, I think that was 1993 was when the first one came out. Oh my god, it looked leaps and bounds better than most computer animation at that time. And that was sort of like the graphical standard. And people were like, we're going to make our game look as good as Toy Story. And they said that back when they had the PlayStation 2, which definitely could not look as good as Toy Story. But this one, they use Unreal Engine 4 for the new Kingdom Hearts game. And it It looks as good as Toy Story, guys, which is pretty impressive. Although, I have to say, my favorite thing to come out of this Toy Story world is this awesome tweet from Dodger, who said, "I like how everyone's just accepted that apparently Andy has become a Lego weeb and bought a whole bunch of anime collectibles." Cause Sora and them are literally like anime Legos. And everyone's just like, "You're the new toys? Great. Awesome. Let's just accept it and move on." Another cool feature that was shown off in the trailer is it looks like there will be expanded party sizes. So one of the things with Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2 is that it was pretty hard and fast that you could have 3 people in your party. You can have Sora, Goofy, and Donald, or you could switch out Goofy and Donald for another character, but that's what you are limited to. Although in the new one, it looks like you can have more than 3 people in your party. It does look like there's one section where Hercules fights alongside Donald, Goofy, and Sora, and it looks like in this new Toy Story world that both Buzz and Woody can fight alongside the 3 main characters as they move through the world. So there's no official cap on the party size, but it looks like you'll be able to include more than 3, which is cool. The other thing people are really excited about is that the trailer include a release date. It looks like Kingdom Hearts 3 will be arriving sometime in 2018, which everyone is super excited about to finally have a release date. They're like, yay, 2018, completely forgetting the fact that the company is Square Enix and they kind of have a history of pushing back release dates. So really, it's even more false hope. It's kind of like a carrot. You're just like 2018, looking forward, and then you're going to get 2018. They're going to be like 2019, and then 2020, and then all that other stuff. I mean, how long was Final Fantasy 15 supposed to be coming out? And that took forever to come out. I mean, it did come out eventually, but still, it took forever and a half. What? Cynical? Me? What? Anyway, that's what I have to say about Kingdom Hearts 3. If you'd like more, I would suggest checking out one of the many Kingdom Hearts channels on YouTube that cover this in much more detail than I do, but that's what I have. Rumor come out, Nintendo are making N64 Classic. What? So this rumor actually got started on the net whenever it was revealed that Nintendo has trademarked their N64 controller, which makes people believe that they are probably working on an N64 Classic, which isn't a large logical leap to make considering that they've already made the NES Classic and the SNES Classic. Really, it's kind of perfect timing when you think about it. I mean, all of the 90s kids are out of college now, they're onto jobs and making money, and this is the perfect time for Nintendo to be like, remember your childhood? And they're like, ooh, I got money to burn. Let's buy a Nintendo 64 Classic. I'm on that hype train. Oh my god, I'll ride that hype train all day. I'll buy one. I'll play Donkey Kong 64, Super Mario 64, Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask. Conker's Bad Fur Day. Hell yeah. I'll get on board that hype train. I'll ride it into the sunset. Anyway, none of that is confirmed, so who knows if it'll actually happen or not. But we're all excited for the possibility. And in a rare moment of breaking live news while I'm recording this, let's talk about Pokemon Go Fest, folks. So Pokemon Go Fest is this big event that Niantic was holding in Chicago today. It was like the first big major event to be related to Pokemon Go, which of course was pretty popular when it launched, then it hit some problems, and then it kind of got less popular, and then people got excited about it again. Anyway, the point is, if you were in Chicago today, you probably went to the Pokemon Go Fest. It was super cool. It was awesome. It was $10 admission. Of course, people actually traveled from all over the United States to go to it. It was super exciting. But ultimately, as it turns out, as of today, a failure. So it turns out that everyone gets there, right? All the lines are super long, which isn't the main problem because of course all the lines are long. It's an event. That's not surprising at all. But after everyone got into the park, they tried to start playing the game and no one had connectivity. All of the Wi-Fi and signals and cell towers had apparently dropped, so no one could actually play the game. There were a few people who managed to get a signal, but whenever they tried to play the game crashed every time they tried to catch a Pokemon. So everyone was apparently having a terrible time not being able to play the game, and the CEO of Niantic gets up on stage, met with a crowd of boos, also chants saying, "Fix the game and we can't play," and says that everyone will be refunded with 100 Pokemon coins. That's right, in-game currency that can't be used anywhere else except for the game. Needless to say, it was a bit of a flop as far as events go. But hopefully Niantic will have learned from this, and their next big event will be better. They'll think it through. They'll make sure the Wi-Fi and the game work before they start the event. All those things that you should probably figure out ahead of time. Hopefully, they learn their lesson. It'll be better next time. But that's what's going on with Pokemon Fest right now. So, let's round out the day by thanking some subscribers, shall we? There are now 281 lovely members of the Jank Squad, and it is time to thank all the new ones for this week. Let's start off by thanking Allie Casper, who's absolutely one of the sweetest people over on Twitter, just an absolute force for positivity. Go follow her, go check her out. She's so nice. And thank you so much, Allie, for officially joining up with the Jank Squad. Next, let's thank Natalie Lewis, who is also super nice over on Twitter. You can check her out. She's super cool. Thank you so much, Natalie, for joining the Jank Squad. Keep being you. The next person I have to thank is Lee the Unicorn. Again, just a sweet person over on Twitter. All these people are just like the sweetest people you will ever meet. But Lee sent me this GIF of otters hugging, and like, already, I love you. And I appreciate you. And I'm just like, ah, that's so cute. And I'm, aw, that's so cute. And it's like, you're so nice. And then they're like, you're so nice. I'm just like, ah, Lee. So, definitely go check out Lee the Unicorn over on Twitter. So sweet. Thank you so much, Lee, for joining up with the Jank Squad. Never change. Never change, Lee. You are just, the best. And finally, my thanks go out to Wolfzilla. You can find Wolfzilla over on YouTube. Got lots of good gaming videos, speedrunners, some Rainbow Six Siege, all sorts of good things. Definitely go check them out. And thank you so much, Wolfzilla, for joining up with the Jank Squad. And that's everyone I have to thank this week, so if I happen to miss you, I apologize so much. Be sure to let me know so I can thank you next week. But of course, thank you to all 281 members of the Jank Squad. You guys are amazing and wonderful, and I know that I use the same adjectives every week, but I really do mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's just, it's nice. It's nice to have people who subscribe to your channel and think that your stuff is worth watching, and think that you're cool, and I think that you are all cool for thinking that I'm cool, and it's just a big old hug fest. That's what really the Jank Squad is, just a big old hug fest. So thank you all so much. All my love to all of you. Thank you. And that's all I have this week for Hanging with Janky. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Hanging with Janky. If you did, of course, feel free to leave those likes down below. Comments, positive or negative, feel free to leave those below as well. But more than anything, I hope you have a lovely day, evening, or whenever you happen to be watching. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, this is Janky Shenanigans, signing out.